So I would say that I'm honestly kind of bad at business. I'm constantly saying things to my clients that lose me money, and I'm kind of addicted to it if I'm being completely honest. So, little background: my name's Maxwell. I own McEwen Tax and Advisory, where we help small businesses save money on taxes through proactive planning, accurate filings, and honestly just caring more than the average CPA. And like I said, I say things that lose me money all the time, and I'm not going to stop because I think that it's actually better for the client, and that's what we're here for. I kind of want to start this video by saying, as a service business, I think that it's your responsibility. I think it's my responsibility to do good ultimately for the client. And part of that is being honest about what services they do or do not need. So, very common example of this. If you're going to own a tax firm or any service-based business, there'll be some kind of example of this. And it's when a client comes in and they say, hey, could you do this for me? For me, it's could you file our personal tax return? I'm like, of course. What kind of documents do we have? Do you have a small business? Do you have some rentals maybe? Like, what's going on? So they say, well, I just kind of work this W-2 job and I have some, 1099 interest or 1099 dividends from my Schwab account or something like that. And I'll look at these documents and I'll say, okay, well, to be honest, this is pretty simple. Like, we could definitely knock this out for you. This is kind of the timeline. But I always say on these calls, I would just recommend going and using TurboTax for something like this. It's going to be quicker. It's honestly going to be cheaper. And so it's a better value for them, like 99% of the time. But I would say about half of these people come back to us and say, well, I actually want an advisory level service. I want somebody that I can talk to year round and somebody that's going to be able to make sure we're not missing anything in our tax or financial outlook. So that's great, but it does lose me money because I could be going and charging these people for our hours that we work on their tax return. I just think it's good karma. I think it's good business to work that way and be honest with people. I think it, in the end, ends up making me money because people trust the service more. And down the line, people start businesses all the time. So they're going to say, hey, I had this person that I really trusted because they gave me this good advice to go and just use TurboTax because it's better value for me. Let me go back and actually, have this person do my business return now because TurboTax can't really handle it anymore. Another example of this is people wanting to hop into S-Corps. There's so many accountants that will just put people in S-Corps when they really shouldn't be. I have one client where he had to unwind this S-Corp that he had because there was this property stuck into it. And it's like, who's putting all these rental properties in S-Corps? So that's another thing where it's just bad advice out there, putting people in some of these entities just so that accountants can charge people fees. It's ridiculous. People come to us say, hey, like I'm making $20,000 or $30,000 in my business. What else can we do? And I could say, hey, like let's go hop in an S-Corp. But if you're a professional and you think about it, well, they're going to have to pay me a fee at the end of the year to do their tax return. So that's going to be, I don't know, depending on the size of the business, $700 to $1,500. They're going to have to start running payroll for their S-Corp because they'll want a reasonable salary. They're probably going to have some bookkeepers. So when you look at, okay, well, they'll pay less in taxes, but they'll ultimately pay more because they have to hire me or they have to hire a bookkeeper or they have to do payroll. Like, is it going to be worth it for them? I'll make more if they switch to an S-Corp, but for them, it's like they're going to lose money. So, we don't like to recommend these S-Corps willy-nilly, and maybe their business gets to a point where, hey, it actually makes sense now. And then it's like, yeah, great, let's go and do it. But I lose myself money, and the business loses money that way because I'm not going to go out and recommend people structures or entities that they really don't need, to be honest. The other thing that I see all the time, which is really sad, is it's sad for me as an accountant. Basically setting up, again, all these entities for people in basically selling a dream to them and saying, okay, if you're going to go do all these rental properties, or if you're going to do all these businesses, you need 10 different LLCs for all this stuff, and you're going to have partnerships here, there, and there. It's just crazy. Like it's really crazy. And from a tax perspective, it's honestly not that helpful about 90% of the time. There's situations and there's strategies that are helpful in those scenarios, But for the most part, if you're just going out and starting all these different, partnerships and S corps and all these different things, like it's just going to make things so much more complicated. So that's another thing where I get a little frustrated with past accountants when they've started all these entities that somebody might not need, and it just makes it so much more complex for this person without really that much in tax savings. Another thing is like, hey, can you do our bookkeeping? No, I don't do bookkeeping. Like, we know what we're good at. We could we could do bookkeeping for these people, and we could take their money. But it's like, I'd just rather refer that work to somebody else. But again, I'm losing money by going and doing that. So is it bad business? Is it good business? I don't really know. It's hard to say. I personally think it's good business, but you guys let me know down in the comments what you think. We turn down work all the time. If it's bad work, if it's work that I don't think we're equipped for at the firm, I'll just give some examples, like nonprofit work. We really don't do a lot of that. Like, could we do it? Yeah, I'm sure. But we have people call us and like, hey, can you do this for us? It's a nonprofit. I'm like, that's not really our ballpark. Sales tax too. Like, we just refer to other sales tax people because there's a whole different world going on inside of that. So again, I personally think that it's good business to, give work in other places that you're not suited for, or not selling the clients something that they don't need. I think that it's a breath of fresh air for most people in a world where people are trying to sell you stuff all the time, whether it's on YouTube or door to door or whatever. It's a breath of fresh air to have somebody not trying to sell you things that you don't need. Last example of this that I'll give is our pricing strategy and our pricing philosophy. And that kind of is that we just don't want to rip people off. I'm in business to make money. I'm completely transparent about that. People understand that. Like, I have mouths to feed, you have mouths to feed. Like, I'm here to make money. I'm not doing this for a charity, but I'm also not going to rip somebody off, which I think is good business. Could I be making more? Probably. Should I be charging more? Probably. But at this stage in the firm, it's like I make a pretty comfortable living. I'm happy with where we're at. I think that we do good work at a good price. So I'm not going to just start charging people crazy numbers. I think that that's a little ridiculous. And it's a hotly contested and hotly debated subject within accounting firms and probably within businesses general. But just like, how much are you charging? You should be charging more. Your clients will happily pay you more. And that's something for another day that we can talk about. Pricing itself is just a discussion and topic that needs its own video because that's how crazy it is, and just how long I could talk about it. But yeah, those are kind of my rules and why I would say that some people think I'm bad at business because I could be making more. But I think that it's good business practice, and I think that as a service-based business owner, you just need to be responsible and you need to be honest and forward about what a client needs or what they don't need, what you're capable of doing, and what they'd be better off going in and getting service somewhere else. So short video, but just wanted to put this out there. If you're a small business or to a medium-sized business and need help with your taxes, shoot us an email, info@McEwen Tax and Advisory, or Maxwell@McEwenTaxAdvisory.com. Anyways, thanks for checking out the video. Follow along if you want to see more of my life and more of me documenting the business as we grow and continues to transform. Thanks. Till next time. Peace.